Good evening and welcome to Under the Hood. It is May 3rd. Believe it or not, somehow it's already May. I'm excited about that. I'm sure everyone here is excited about that. And we are happy to have you with us tonight. Lots to get to. I'm Eli Karp, host of Under the Hood and editor-in-chief of Throw the Flag Sports. And with me tonight, if we can view him, his computer is having some troubles. Rock the Barn. Nope, we got a blank screen. Eric, Happy, and Spentano. So we've got a lot to get to. We have both playoffs to talk about, and what really quite an interesting and fulfilling draft if you just like drama and fandom of the NFL. And let's just start by saying that I think Philly was the way it was all set up was a very great venue. Set up on the steps to the art museum. It was a very good venue. I think Philly did a great job. Like to see them get it back sometime in the future, although it can come back to New York, no pressure. So let's start with the draft because playoffs are still ongoing, but let's hit the draft first. I want to get some of your guys' impressions of some of the moves that were made because in past years it's been cookie cutter and we've kind of known what's coming. But after the first pick, we were thrown a curveball with the Chicago Bears, let's just say lack of brain, maybe. So if we want to coin it like that. So let's start with you, Eric. Obviously, Patriots flying under the radar as usual, but what moves caught your eyes from around the league?
Well, I really like what the Browns did. Garrett, number one, obviously. They picked up – they traded down from 12. Was it to – let me look at this right here.
26? No,
25.
Like
25, where they got Peppers. Oh, I'm not sure what Jabril Peppers. He's going to either be this hybrid that can do so many good things, or he's going to be a tweener. He's too big or too slow to do a certain thing. He's going to be a man without a position. So I think that's going to be interesting. And when you're the Browns, you can risk that because you don't have much talent anywhere. And then I really like Njoku from Miami, the tight end. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'm just going to go with that.
David Njoku.
Yeah. Njoku.
But they didn't have any playmakers on offense last year. And they had Pryor, but they lost him. But this guy's going to be – I think he'll be a legit solid NFL tight end.
Yeah, definitely. There is a reason he was number 2 on a lot of big boards for tight ends. And if you're watching, please submit your questions, real questions to the comments box. Happy to answer them. Get your opinions. Rock the Barn has returned. Oh, who have we got today? We've got Tom Canna's back. Steven Restucci, I'm guessing he's one of Eric's friends. And Drew, an Eric friend, I can see. So we've got the Ipswich faithful here on a Wednesday night and under the hood. Clearly lots going on. So there's our Browns. I agree. Definitely there's potential there. I'm not sure. I mean, I think when the Peppers pick came out, I think that the Twitter world at least was the Browns did the Browns. But we'll see. He could turn out to be useful. I just don't know. He's got to find a niche, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find it quickly. So, yeah, interesting. Happy.
One thing I noticed from this draft is, like, going in, everyone was looking at these defensive players, the defensive ends, the cornerbacks. There's a lot of top defensive talent, and people are like, okay, yeah, there's a couple good running backs, just like 3 receivers that can maybe go first round. But those 3 receivers won the top 10. They're running, and McCaffrey and Fournette both won the top 10 as well. I'm just surprised at the onslaught of just first, like, top 10, top 15 just offense in this heavy defensive draft. And then as you go down to the first round, that's when you get to see the cornerbacks and defensive ends really start to fall. But really just one pick in particular, the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes going to the Chiefs, them trading up. Obviously that's their quarterback of the future. And I always have been high on Mahomes. He's got a great arm and he's going to have some great time to develop under that Chiefs system, maybe even do some great things in the future.
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes was the most low-key sought-after quarterback in the draft because the Giants wanted to get him, and I would have been very happy if the Giants got him. But I'm not too unhappy that they didn't give up what they would have had to give up, that the Chiefs gave up. And I'm sure a couple other teams were looking after him, but he needs someone to learn behind, as do most quarterbacks in the draft. I really don't understand what the Bears did with their first-round pick. I know I saw a question about it in the chat. First, on the quarterbacks, is Trubisky really the best? And if so, by how much is he really the best? So, let's face it. Of course, any quarterback-needy team is going to want to get their quarterback quickly. And it was all agreed last year. The same thing. that the quarterback class is not that strong, but all of a sudden, regardless of how strong the quarterback class is, because this guy, he's in the top, somehow he's going to be something great. It's probably not the case, but the 49ers were likely seen to be choosing Solomon Thomas at 2. The Bears needed to move up 1 pick. Why did they give up so much to take a quarterback that I frankly don't think is going to be that good after they paid another mediocre quarterback who's been a backup his entire year $14 million? Somebody please explain that to me. Like, really? Somebody please explain that to me. And to trade all that up for 1 pick, were they really that concerned that people were going to give San Francisco that much to move up to number 2 to swipe Trubisky? I'm pretty sure everyone thought the Browns were taking Garrett at 1, and they get whatever quarterback they wanted at 12, even though that didn't pan out. But obviously, the Bears taking Trubisky at 2 put all of the new gears in motion. So I'm just confused. And it seemed like there was a lot of the level of unsurety around the Bears organization and, the miscommunication. John Fox didn't know that they were going to take Trubisky or make the move to take Trubisky until like an hour before the draft. How does that happen? How does that happen? I really don't get that. So I think this was a miss across the board. Call me out on it a couple of years down the road if Trubisky turns out to be worth it, but I'm really not seeing it. And I'm not. Do any of you disagree with me? No, I don't disagree with myself either. All right, Spintano.
Yeah, Bears, one of the teams I didn't like. And then from all the draft reviews I saw, pretty much everyone thought every team did the right thing, but I didn't like the Titans pick of Corey Davis at 5. I thought they should have went Mike Williams. That would have made more sense to me, but I guess they saw something in Davis. And then John Ross at 9 was interesting because they already have A.J. Green, and they could use a lot of help other places besides the wide receiver position. It didn't make a lot of sense to me there. I did like the Chargers pick of Mike Williams because I thought he was the best wide receiver in that draft, and then they're going to have a very stacked core. Like, originally I was hesitant because they do have a lot of wide receivers, but they also all get injured, so need more.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Mike Williams. A lot of people were unsure. Should he really be taken that high? And the thing about it is, it's not a bad pick by the Chargers. It may have taken him a little early, possibly. But you're talking about a wide receiver core that is already – it's talented. It's extremely talented. If it's healthy, it's a great offense, but it hasn't been healthy. And frankly, it's the same way with Mike Williams. If he's healthy, he's going to be good. If he's not healthy – there's a good chance that he's not going to be healthy and he's not going to have an impact, therefore. So I think that – yes, I agree with the Corey Davis thing. Maybe a little early, even though they were looking for some kind of a jolt on the offensive side. Maybe they could have waited. And John Robinson has done a fantastic job turning the Titans around. But Corey Davis and Adoree Jackson at 18, I'm not sure I'm digging that pick. Maybe they need some secondary help after they dropped Jason McCourty, but I'm not quite sure what the Titans were doing there either. And typically they've been pretty smart about what they've done in the draft and free agency. So we will see there. Obviously, they've got a good running game. Rock the Barn, to sum this up in short, well, actually, no, I'll let you run wild for a little bit. Jamal Adams, you can't be upset. Like, I won't let you be upset with that pick, but go on if you were happy with the rest of the draft, because I know you're one of the few who said that the Jets needed to take another quarterback.
Well, yeah, I still think the Jets need a quarterback. I don't think Josh McCown is the answer, but I did some more research and looked more in depth, and yes, I definitely agree with you guys now. I think I was just a little overwhelmed on draft night. Jamal Adams is actually a great pick. I looked at what the Jets really needed, and yes, quarterback is definitely up there, but I think Jamal Adams is going to be a great part to this team. But for the rest of the draft, I think
the only part.
No one believes me, but I think Bilal Powell will be a great running back.
I love Bilal Powell.
But for sticking towards the running backs, the Jaguars recently have not had the greatest running backs. They have Yeldon and they have Chris Ivory, and they drafted Leonard Fournette really early in the draft. And I don't know if that's the answer. They were said to be one of the worst teams in the last couple of years with the run game, and they try to incorporate a new running back every year. Chris Ivory was hurt for most of the year. Yeldon played minimum yards, pretty much only played inside the 5-yard line with quick, easy runs. So, I mean, yes, they definitely needed a running back, but taking a running back that early when the Jaguars just have so many other holes to fill, just didn't make sense.
Yeah, but, when you're talking about those other holes to fill, well, one, they just extended Blake Bortles or exercised his option. They took it. They accepted that, whatever. But the defense, I think what stats showed up was they were like 8th in overall defense last year. I think that showed up during the draft. So really the problem has not been on the defensive side of the ball. At least last year wasn't. They finally got to turn around with all that money they spent. So really when you're looking at it, they have had trouble running the ball. And so honestly, it's crowded back there. Don't get me wrong. And they've swung and foul-tipped on a couple running backs now in the draft. But maybe they've hit their pot of gold with Leonard Fournette here. And possibly this could be a pick that gets Jacksonville humming again. Who knows? Tom Coughlin's there. He's going to bring some of the no-nonsense business into Jacksonville. So we'll see how that ends up. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think Blake Bortles was bad just because he's Blake Bortles. But at the same time, they need a better offensive line. Allen Robinson did not have the year anyone expected him to have. Their tight end core was not that great. So I think running back, because Chris Ivory's not a bad running back. He played very well with the Jets. Yeldon played all right this year. I just don't think they could have waited. There was definitely other running backs they could have taken later on.
Yeah, one thing, running backs have been plenty in the last couple of years, and the idea of a stud running back going early has been revived as Ezekiel Elliott started the trend last year, and it is not stopping this year. We'll see we get next year. But yeah, that's an interesting situation. Thoughts on Deshaun Watson to Houston? Houston gave a bid up to trade there, and obviously it could be a good spot for him. But and the 90% of the rest of the team is ready to go to an AFC championship, in my opinion. Are they ready to beat New England? Probably not, but they're probably ready to get to an AFC championship. And they need a quarterback, and they got Deshaun Watson, but they also need one or two pieces on the offensive line to shore things up because of some nasty injuries to some of their key guys. So I'm going to go to Spentano. Your thoughts on if Deshaun is going to be able to answer the bell in the first couple of years, or if the window, the timing just hasn't quite aligned, and that Deshaun's not going to be good for maybe really that quality good until 4 years maybe down the road, and by that time everyone else is gone.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be terrible, but I don't think he's gonna have the immediate impact of people saying Texans Super Bowl next year. But they made the right decision because they tried signing a quarterback. They tried Brian Hoyer, and just they needed to do something because this core is aging as we speak with DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller, J.J. Watt, Davion Clowney.
Whitney Merciless.
Whitney Merciless. And, yeah, Watson, I don't think it's going to happen this year, but it could really help because they had to do it since the Brockweiler was not working out.
And no Tony Romo. That screwed him over big time. Otherwise, we were looking at a AFC championship-ready team if Romo goes to them this year. So, but I think this is a good place for Deshaun Watson to learn at least. Yes, there will be pressure, but Bill O'Brien is a quarterback that is a quarterback coach that a lot of quarterbacks would want to be with. I think he's a good mentor, especially having as a head coach who's going to devote so much time to the quarterback. I think that Deshaun is in a good learning place, at least there, even if it's going to be a steep curve in the short term. All right, let me get my brief Giants thing out of the way, and then Happy, you'll have your chance. Was I really surprised that the Giants didn't go with an Njoku or a Robinson? No, because they've always been known to go a little bit different. My problem with Evan Engram, yes, the Giants have arguably the best pass-catching core in the league. But Engram is not the biggest – he doesn't fill the need that the Giants wanted from a tight end, which is a blocker who could also spread the field. Engram spreads the field, and he spreads it well, but he doesn't really block. He is a wide receiver at a tight end position. And what the Giants did, at least in the first round, was they tried to mask their issues by getting better at something that they were already good at. What they're already good at is throwing the ball. But they weren't as good as it because they had no line or no running game. And they didn't address it with a better blocking tight end or Cam Robinson, who was thought to be off the board by then, but was not. So instead of actually improving the pass protection and getting more out of the receivers that they already have and the passing game that's already there, they decide, let's go get another weapon so Eli can throw to with less than 2 seconds. So that's my problem with it. And Jerry Reese only made an effort to get a lineman in the 6th round, trading up in the 6th round, their last pick. Did he just do that for the sake of people being able to say that they did draft an offensive lineman? I don't get that. Dalvin Tomlinson, I don't really have anything to complain about that. Wayne Gallman, I think he'd be an interesting piece. Ben McAdoo yesterday said Paul Perkins is the starting running back. We'll see. I think Gallman could add a nice dimension. And a lot of people giving him comparisons to Devontae Freeman. So how can I be upset about that? And finally, Davis Webb. Do I have a problem? No. But at the same time, I think 3rd round people thought it wasn't going to be there. But at the same time, the Giants never attended his pro day, never had an interview with him. And then Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese saying, "Oh, we graded him very high, and we're surprised he slipped to us." You never met him. You've only seen his tape, and you've drafted him to essentially be the successor to one of the best quarterbacks in your franchise's history. Mm-hmm. And then today, they pretty much came out and said, Eli's job is not to be his mentor. No, it's not his sole job, but Davis Webb, your favorite local golf pro, should be figuring out how to be a professional, and no better way to do that than from Eli Manning. So I really don't understand the comments today. And maybe I'm overreacting, but I'm not quite sure I like exactly how they've gone about the Davis Webb. Do I think it's a bad draft pick? No, I just don't think they've handled it in quite the way that they should. Happy.
All right. So I agree with I think everything you've said, really. I think this draft for the Giants, they made great picks, I think. They had players help the teams, but they weren't the right picks. The Ingram pick, yeah, he's a great player. He'll do great with Eli, but he's not the player they needed with the receiver. I mean, they needed the blocking. Although they did pick up Red Allison for that blocking tight end fullback thing. I know it's not exactly what they need.
Red
I know.
Allison.
I still think Njoku was the better answer. I think everyone.
But apparently they hated it. Or they didn't really like Njoku at all, somewhat.
From
somehow.
what I read, though, he was compared to a Jimmy Graham type of blocker, which means not really a blocker.
Which means an Evan Ingram type blocker.
Well, from what I read about Ingram blocking, he's not going to obviously stop a defensive lineman from around the end. But he's
either any of the Giants guards, but
or tackles, or just anyone.
Eric Flowers, get him out. Get him out.
The Gallman pick I love the Gallman pick. And besides, I really think the Avery Moss pick, I don't know even who that was, so I'm not even going to, just defensive line depth. But Davis Webb, I think, yeah, they shouldn't have done it. I think I had Dobbs and Peterman higher and like quarterbacks, and they both went further down.
You had Peterman higher than him. Wow.
I liked Peterman. I think he can be something. I think Webb has more potential, but I think with Manning behind him, I think Peterman could have been a better player than Davis Webb.
Josh, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to talk about their undrafted signings quickly. They did some pretty good stuff.
I like Travis Rudolph. He's a name that I knew before, and if I know him before, and they're getting him as an undrafted free agent, he's this Florida State wide receiver who sat with the autistic child to have lunch with, I think, every day at school or whatever, or like every time he'd go visit. Yeah. So big props to Travis Rudolph, class act. But yeah, go ahead on what you think about him as a player.
Oh, Travis Rudolph, I just think, the reason he really didn't get drafted is because he's not really a physical specimen receiver. He's just an average receiver, really. There's nothing really special about him. He's just there. And also the Clemson safety, Jadar Johnson, who they also brought in. I think he's with some fine tuning, he could be a good good secondary depth behind Collins and Thompson. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on the Giants draft.
Yeah, and mentioning Josh Dobbs, he is this year's Deshaun Watson. Not Deshaun Watson. This year's Dak Prescott. Same pick, similar situation in that Tony Romo was going to mentor him. Ben is getting near the end of his career, and Ben is probably not going to play all 16 games this year.
Landry Jones, though.
Not dissimilar skill sets. Both mobile quarterbacks. Maybe Dobbs just he's like a rocket science degree. I don't know if Dak had that, but I'm sure Spentano would say he's got a PhD after this year with the Cowboys. But I would not be surprised to see Josh Dobbs having success this year. Just whether it's the aura of pick number 135 or it's the situation he's in, I think he'll be given a chance to thrive. And I think Landry Jones is going to be shown the door because he has not made much of his opportunity. So that's probably that. Anyone else on the draft? We got to keep this train moving. No. All right. So let's move on to the NBA playoffs. Spentano, Grizz in 6. Nope. So they went down. They went down in 6. It was a hard-fought series. And as we talked about last week, we didn't think that the Spurs were really going to have success in the second round. It's only been one game, but they were manhandled at home by the Rockets. And they manhandled the Spurs a lot more than the Warriors manhandled the Jazz. They only lost by 11, did the Jazz. And I'm surprised, actually, for the Boston series that Boston's up 2-0, even though both games have been pretty close. I'm surprised that Boston is up 2-0 the way they are. I think Washington is kind of a popular upset pick. And the Cavs, well, they're really betting against them at this point.
They were winning.
They're winning pretty.
20 now.
LeBron.
Yeah.
All right, so they're on their way to they're on their way to 2-0. So who wants to chime in their thoughts? Spentano, I'll start with you because I know you want to chime in your thoughts on some things about the first round and this current round.
Well, before everyone jumps on the whole Spurs our Spurs dynasty is over, Rockets killed them. I'm pretty sure that the Spurs last year in the semifinals beat the Thunder by 25 in game 1 and then ended up losing in 6. So, I mean, the Rockets, they're going to have games where they shoot that well from the three-point line and make 22 threes, and there's not really much you can do, especially when LaMarcus Aldridge has 4 points with Ryan Anderson guarding him. A year ago, the same round, he scored 38 in game 1 of the semifinals, 41 the next game, 4 points. He's got to turn it around. He was terrible against Memphis. Like, I think he averaged 15 maybe, which you can't have a max player averaging 15. Can't talk because the Grizzlies have Chandler Parsons who averaged 6 points per game. But still, I don't think you should jump on the Houston's going to kill them bandwagon yet until we see what LaMarcus Aldridge does in game 2. Because LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't show up, they don't have a chance. Like, they need that second star.
Yeah, he looks more like Neiman Marcus rather than LaMarcus Aldridge. So, yes, and by the way, Spentano's uncle is David Fizdale, if you guys didn't know. So, his honorary uncle, David Fizdale. Happy.
Oh, just anything in the NBA?
Yeah, just your thoughts what's going on. Otherwise, we can pass over.
I mean, there's nothing really exciting going on. I think just everything.
It's just the NBA playoffs.
Everything that's happening is supposed to happen. I think Boston, they're playing tight games with Washington. They're winning. Warriors beat the Jazz last night. The only really surprise is the Houston Spurs series, but I think that'll be a 7 game series. That can go either way. And then the Cavs are also handling the Raptors fine. So nothing really surprising going on.
Yeah, I think maybe surprise might not be the appropriate term because some people might see it coming. But let's face it, Clippers are done. Like, Dynasty, like their little run over the last 5-ish years where they've lost so many heartbreaking playoff series, done. Their crew is being disassembled this year. And I think Doc Rivers, who knows if Doc Rivers is going to be there for how much longer? Where's Blake Griffin going? Where's Chris Paul going? What are the rest of them going to do? So that's an interesting point. Just think about there. Sorry, Clippers fans. Your window was closed, unfortunately. And I may be saying about the Rangers this year or next year, so we'll see about that. Rock the barn.
On that note, CP3, there is definitely a spot open in New York. If you would like to come on down, he would definitely be appreciated because I really don't want Melo anymore.
Yeah, either just Phil.
Derek CP3 would be a great combination. But staying on the NBA, wherever Dwight Howard goes, the team is going to lose.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
Is that
Los Angeles or
No.
okay? Spentano.
So I think CP3 should go to San Antonio because there's rumors of him going back to New Orleans, play with the Pelicans, but you're not really in that much of a different situation that you were in Los Angeles. It's just another big three, and if one person gets injured, then the entire thing goes crumbling down. CP3's seen it. He doesn't want any part of that. I think he's going to San Antonio because they have a better system, and Patty Mills, I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign because probably like the Orlando Magic are going to give him like $18 million or something. And then
Evan Fournier
Blake Griffin,
2.0.
I think, would be a perfect fit on the Celtics because you look at Isaiah Thomas, true superstar. Just that performance last night was amazing. Avery Bradley and Jay Crowder are kind of like the two perfect wing players you want if you're trying to build a championship team. Just in 3 and D tiers, they're all the way at the top. Like they're never going to be really good, but they're 3 and D. And then Al Horford is a nice passing center. I would get on him a lot during the season, but this playoffs he's playing really well. And just the power forward spot, oh my God, Amir Johnson, I don't think he's recorded a rebound in like the last 5 games. And they need another power forward. Take away Tyler Zeller's salary and don't re-sign Amir Johnson. You have $20 million right there. I think they should be able to carve out the cap space to try to make a run at Blake Griffin. He'd be the perfect fit.
You play AAU, you could fit in, right?
Yeah.
Eric.
Better than Amir Johnson.
2 quick things. One, I got a really feel for Chris Paul because he's one of the all-time great point guards. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. But I saw this thing within the last couple of days. Only 2 teams since the year 2000 have not made a conference final. The Clippers with Chris Paul and the Pelicans/Hornets with Chris Paul. And he's, like I said, it's very sad. Like, he was in the game crying, after the game crying in the locker room saying, "I've choked again." Most of it isn't his fault. In New Orleans, there wasn't much talent else around him. In LA, Blake Griffin usually gets hurt or punches people and gets hurt.
Yeah.
But I would like him maybe to go like if he wants to win a ring. I don't know if he would do this because he's
The
a
Cavs.
competitor. San Antonio, but I think New Orleans would be interesting with Cousins and Davis.
Milwaukee.
And then my other NBA point was the Celtics with Isaiah Thomas. Yesterday would have been his sister's 23rd birthday, just a week after losing her. And that's just something really special. 53 points. Second all-time leading points in a playoff game in Celtics history. From a 5'9" guy.
He's 5'7", pretty much.
John Wall, one of the best two-way guards in the league. It's just phenomenal.
So let me pose this question then. Is Isaiah Thomas taking away MVP votes from Russell Westbrook right now?
They already voted.
I would not say that. No. Isaiah, I would not have him on my first team. I'd have him on my second team. But Harden and Westbrook are the clear-cut 1 and 2 in the MVP race.
They voted like a month ago, too.
Oh, I thought they didn't vote until they didn't have to vote until in somewhere into the playoffs.
No, they voted for the playoffs, and I think like
They changed it.
There's 100 credentialed media people that like get votes, and 62 of them already revealed their vote. So you pretty much know who's gonna win MVP at this point, based off like just like a coin flip for each remaining vote that hasn't been revealed. There's a 98.9% chance Russ wins. So that kind of ruined it. And they have like an award show at the end of the year, which no one likes because past years, like with Derrick Rose and Allen Iverson, you get that moment of being in your hometown and bringing your hometown an MVP. Russ could have done that with OKC if he's going to win it, but now he's out of the playoffs and it's just going to be a lame award show after the finals.
All right. Well, and we'll keep that for the NBA right there. And we're going to finish off tonight with the NHL playoffs, the most interesting playoffs in North American sports. So right now, second round series stand 2-1 Ottawa, game 4 tonight in New York. Series has turned around a little bit. I'll get to that a little more later. Nashville up 3-1, I believe, on St. Louis. Nashville showing shade of the 2012 LA Kings. They really are. They're just playing confident hockey. Pekka Rinne, a resurgence. It's like the second great awakening within Pekka Rinne. And then we're just seeing this a really strong D-core and just guys chipping in up front by committee. And, of course, the best national anthems in the NHL coming from Nashville, even though Edmonton did shine. The fans did shine for the anthems when the sound went out. So Edmonton also up 2-1 on Anaheim. That game 4 is that in Edmonton tonight or tomorrow? But it's soon.
It's tonight, 10.
It's tonight. And right now, game 4 between the Caps and the Pens. And that's the Pens up 2-1 in the series. But big news, Sidney Crosby out with a concussion. This could be a while. And have to see if the Caps, this gives them a little bit more belief, even though they scored a huge win. Much more dramatic than it needed to be. But at least they did win, unlike the Rangers, who made things more dramatic than they needed to be. And then they lost in the same kind of situation. So that's that. Certainly, I think they're tied at 2 in game 4 right now. So we'll see if the other guy.
3-2 Pittsburgh.
3-2 Penguins. Penguins, even though no Sidney Crosby, a lot of firepower, but Sidney Crosby makes them everyone around him a lot better. So we will see. If Pittsburgh were to pull this win off, I would be very impressed with Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh right now, the team that before Crosby, and not quite sure about now, but game 3 definitely, besides just being up 2-0, the way they've been playing, they're certainly my Stanley Cup favorite at the moment. So yeah, any specific thoughts from you guys on the playoffs before I talk about the Rangers? Yes.
Okay, for starters, I want to talk about the Penguins-Capitals series. To start everything off, Marc-Andre Fleury has played the best hockey I have ever watched him play in my entire life. He has to be the most inconsistent goalie in the entire league. Going from like the 2013 playoffs, playing the Flyers and letting in like 13 goals per game, like 13-12 every game, to making unbelievable backhand saves, swinging around, desperation saves, saving games. He's playing out of his mind. And then for the Capitals, yes, they won the last game, but you can't be letting up 2 goals in the last minute and 30 seconds of the game. 42 seconds apart. That is a team that's definitely good enough not to have that happen. Nashville, like you said, been playing great hockey. St. Louis just can't keep up with them. The defensive core has been playing amazing. Pekka Rinne, definitely my favorite NHL playoff so far. The Edmonton-Anaheim series has been, I think, pretty predictable. There's not much to say there. That's an offensive series between Ryan Getzlaf and Connor McDavid.
Yeah, but if I may interject when they're on game 3, when I was watching game 3, so Anaheim jumped up to a 3-0 lead, and honestly, I'm not sure anyone thought Edmonton was out of the game at that point. Yeah. They then proceed to score 3 straight goals to the Oilers, and it's 3-3 halfway through the game. But the resolve that Anaheim showed after getting 3 early, giving up 3, already down 2-0 in the series on the road in that building, to then come back and score 3 straight goals and so that was impressive. I thought that showed some real resolve. Go ahead, Rock the Barn.
This has been a really an away thing. Teams who've played on the road have really played better than they have at home. Edmonton definitely being one of them. Nashville has played well wherever they play. And then my thoughts on the Rangers series is that I hate to say it, the Rangers have played better hockey overall. You saw it finally come out in Game 3 when they won 4-1. They played so much better in Game 2. Losing that game is just bad. You're up 5-3 with like 5 minutes left.
3-19.
You let Peugeot score 2 of his 4 goals.
Who is this guy? Gabriel Peugeot.
They've dominated every game. Like Ottawa looked like they were coming back, and then the Rangers would come back and score again. And I turned the game off for a little bit. I was like, wow, the Rangers are going to come back. They're going to win. Game 1 was kind of even.
I thought the Rangers were outplayed in Game 1. They didn't deserve to win, but they didn't deserve to lose like that.
Yeah, but game 2 was just pathetic.
I don't disagree, but I think this series is going at least 6. At least 6. Let's see if Rock the Barn might be disappearing here on us. I don't know if he's still here.
I'm here.
You're here. It's just you're. Oh, there you are. You're fully back now. Did you have thoughts on how long the series was going?
I think honestly it depends on how the first period plays out tomorrow. If the Rangers definitely dominate the first period at home, yes, I think either game 6, possibly 7. But if Edmonton comes out strong, I think it's over in 5.
Ottawa,
sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's another almost must-win game. Essentially, I think that yesterday was more of a must-win than tomorrow, but naturally that's just the way it goes. But yeah, I think that game 1 they didn't play that well. There wasn't a huge sense of urgency, but they didn't deserve to lose like that, especially because Henrik Lundqvist played so well, and he just didn't see that one. Game 2, no, they were not perfect. Yes, the defense broke down. But you're up 2 goals, and you have scored, and you are playing well enough on the road to win. You cannot lay back like that. This is now twice that they've done that. Once with Montreal, and then once with Ottawa. I hope they've really learned their lesson. They did not take their foot off the pedal very much yesterday, and yesterday was dominant. I've rocked Martin. I'd have to agree with you. I think through 2 games, they've outplayed the Senators. In 3 games, they've outplayed them in 2, but they got no bounces in game 2, and so this series could be 2-1 Rangers, but you know what? This Rangers team, it's veteran, and even though things get down at times and they start to lose their way occasionally, you can't count them out yet. And so tomorrow should be very telling. Garden crowd down 2-0 was great last night. They really were, and I'm hoping to see more of the same tomorrow, especially because there's new life into the series. And I think that going back to Ottawa 2-2 would be a huge boost for the Rangers and really give them that shot in the arm back playing on the road like they've had all year in Montreal as well. So, also, Craig Anderson can handle the puck, and it's marvelous. I mean, the Rangers should have won 2 games off of that. They have only helped contribute to 1, but Craig Anderson cannot handle the puck. Eric, I know you know that well. But yeah, Ottawa, it's okay. You don't have to keep the leash on Craig Anderson like Pierre says. You can let him roam free. It'll be okay for the other team. So
I don't think Pierre knows what he's talking about.
Pierre takes a lot of slack. He takes a lot of crap from people. And yes, he interjects a lot. But I think Pierre gives some fantastic analysis and much better analysis than other color commentators I've seen. And I think he's got a great job, but I think that he does a really good job of it.
I think you're right. I think he plays into the stereotype though, because I don't care what people say. If he's in a game with Crosby, the game is all about Crosby. If Crosby's not in the game whatsoever, it's like Edmonton versus whoever, or the Rangers versus whoever, not against Pittsburgh. He's great, but if Crosby's there, he's just bad.
Well, Sydney's already got a Y on the end of the name, so we can't make a nickname for him as if he's friends with Matty or Johnny or Eddie or whatever his name is. So, we don't have to worry about that if Sidney Crosby is playing. Oh, Kenny, calm down. Calm down, Kenny. All right. Well, any other thoughts on the NHL playoffs, or we're going to call it a night because I've got stuff to study for. Yeah, Eric, go ahead.
I'm going to keep saying this until I'm wrong, but I was laughed at for the Nashville prediction, laughed out of the room, but they're 1 game away from going to the Western Conference Finals. I'm going to keep saying it till I'm wrong.
Peter Laviolette making his push to be, obviously, no Coach of the Year conversation right now because that was voted on for the regular season, but he got this Nashville team, which was in somewhat of an underdog role, to a Game 7 in the second round last year against San Jose. He is on the verge of getting past that into a final this time. Watch out for this Nashville team. Nashville-Edmonton. If that happens, who would have seen that coming? Honestly, that'd be fun. Anyone else?
3-1 leads never get
all the
won.
way.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in and watching Under the Hood tonight, our 40th episode. So we'll see you back sometime, hopefully next week or the week after for 41. And have a wonderful night.